Hello, welcome to Connector Dots. Do you feel like you have enough resources? Are you trying to constantly do more with less? Maybe you're burned out, feeling like you're falling behind and there's things you want to do, but you just don't have enough resources. Well, today during Pharmovation Friday, we are going to explore how you can assess your FTEs or full-time equivalents for capacity or right size analysis. Welcome to Connector Dots. These are brief, candid insights on healthcare, pharmacy, and life for connectors and pharmovators. I'm your host, Kimber Boothe. I'm a strategic pharmacy coach and consultant. I'm a pharmacist, healthcare leader, and entrepreneur. I help pharmacists strategically advocate for roles and resources to advance practice and enjoy their jobs and have a joyful career. Today, I actually did give a presentation this morning for the Kentucky Society of Health System Pharmacists. It was their fall meeting. It was virtual, of course, but I had the pleasure of giving a talk on my favorite topic of doing more with more, practice advancement initiative through strategic business plans. And there's a topic there related to this doing more with less and how to do a capacity analysis that I wanted to touch on today. So in the past, I've definitely mentioned, if you've happened to catch these connector dots before, that you have three main ways to resource your strategic plan. So when you do your situational analysis and you do your strategic plan, and you decide there's a new initiative you want to do, there's three things you can do. One, you can look at your existing resources and use them if there is capacity. I doubt it, but that is a potential. You could potentially reallocate resources. Stop doing one thing and start doing another. And the third option, of course, is to justify new resources through business plans. So while that was a big focus of my talk today, I did focus on the bigger picture journey to justify resources, and we'll talk about that journey and what is involved with doing a capacity analysis. The strategic planning step is what happens first in your journey to justify resources. So you do that strategic plan, make sure it aligns with your mission, vision, and values, and you set that out for what your strategic plan is. You want to think bold and big, think about all the things that you want to do. You can phase them in, and then you have to understand, do you have the resources to do this or not? And that's where the second step comes in, and that's the FTE analysis, FTE capacity analysis. The third step are doing the business plans themselves, and the fourth step includes the return on investment assessment that is part of those business plans. And your last step is approval, getting your business plan approved to justify these new resources. So let's dive deeper a little bit into that FTE capacity analysis. So sometimes this gets called a right size analysis, or I do like to use the term capacity analysis because you're understanding your current capacity of staff. The term right size is important because many times, as you know, pharmacy is asked to do more with less, and we may not even have the right resources for the work we're already doing. And so you want to make sure you evaluate your capacity and your current staffing before you even consider committing to new initiatives, because you don't want to set yourself up for failure. You don't want to burn your staff out any more than they already are. So what do you need to look at to do this FTE analysis? Well, hopefully you have beautiful dashboards and you have all of this data flowing and you know all your numbers, you know exactly what it takes to do your business. That would be the ideal. I know that is not realistic for most of our organizations, but it is something we should progress to. This is definitely where I say, we need to know our numbers. We just need to know our business. And health systems, the whole pharmacy enterprise is complicated, right? We have all different roles that are within our department. And so when you look at the whole gamut of all of the staff that we have, it's hard to bring it down to just one metric. So it's important that we consider looking at a variety of metrics to understand maybe even each of our individual functions. And in my Pharmovation program, I do teach on budgets and benchmarks, and in there we do talk about some ways where you can drill down even further. And I'm actually planning to have an extra bonus when I launch the course again in January that will be a more deeper capacity analysis to really help you get into the details if you don't already have this data. So the first step really is looking at your labor and productivity metrics. So whatever you do have, you want to obtain that, collect it, look at the trends over time, and compare it internally and maybe within your other hospitals to understand those metrics. And again, you may want to look at all of your individual functions. What are your clinical team members doing? What are your operational IV room doing? What are your outpatient pharmacy team doing? Your ambulatory team doing? You probably need to look at it all. Then you want to look at, are there any recent services that you've taken on? This is where pharmacy is often asked to do more with less and just absorb. So you want to just look historically over the last several years, have you taken on new services? Have they opened up a new nursing unit, open up some new ambulatory clinics where you did not get resources added? That's important to know because that will help understand why you might be trying to do more with less. Then you want to look at your non-productive or PTO time. So some people call this replacement factor or PTO time. It usually ranges from 12 to 15% depending on what your PTO offers in terms of days off, both for sick time and actual vacation time. It's important, and I've seen many organizations that when they have added positions in the past, they haven't always gotten the resources to cover this non-productive time. Sometimes it's added to your budget as like a per diem, part-time PRN budget, where if you could potentially cover people's vacation with these per diem people. But once you have like 8 staff members, you need like one whole extra person just to cover the vacation of those 8 staff members. So sometimes you really need to have full-time people to cover that. So it's just important to look at your staffing. Do you have enough staff to cover the replacement factor? So it's the difference between your bodies and your actual shifts that you need to compare. The next topic is training days. This is a topic that we often don't get credit for, but I have seen success where nurses have gotten support through the magnet programs where they do add staff specifically because of their magnet designation, specifically to cover education. And so if you look at, when I've done the calculations, it's usually at least 3 days per FTE that you need for training days, where you have to give people time off to do just your own internal training. That doesn't even include like going to educational conferences. This is just some of the internal training that are required, new technology, new resources that you need to have time for, but people need to be taken offline and somebody else needs to do their job during that time. The next topic that you want to look at is on-call or flex needs. Many times we have shifts in our organizations that we can go to when things get really busy. Maybe it's just on demand as needed, but you want to see how often those type of on-call backup support is being used, because I have found in some organizations that it was being used so much, like activated every day or every weekend, that you need to have that as a full-time shift, right? It was just a given. You'd have this on call and that you're paying potentially overtime for that, or temp agencies, things like that. So you really want to understand how much you're using that and convert that likely to full-time positions. I did mention temps. So if you are using external team members, if you are paying overtime, you want to look at that. And something that I actually did not bring up today, but does come up, is many times our teams are split sometimes between hourly and non-hourly. Sometimes pharmacists are hourly, sometimes they are they're just paid for 40 hours no matter what. But if you can assess how many hours they're actually working, we may find that there is an extensive amount of time over their typical hours. And some of that we expect because we're professionals, we're doing extra things that maybe aren't immediately required for the job. We want to do publications and other things that kind of go above and beyond. but we still want to know how much of that is contributing to your staffing. The next topic is vacancy turnover and how much you have FMLA to cover. So vacancy turnover, that's just, how many staff members turn over in a year. And you can get that data usually from human resources. And it's important to know then, besides how many vacancies you have and what that turnover rate is the time to fill, because that does impact your staffing. Some organizations can take 4 to 6 months to fill some of these positions, and depending on the time of the year for pharmacists, that can take even longer sometimes. So you want to understand that, because you, during the time when you have vacancies, are probably having to tap into your per diem or your temp team members if you don't have enough staff to cover your basic vacancy turnover. I do think we should have float pools, just like nursing does, just to cover that, because it's already in the budget. We just don't have the bodies, the people, to fill the budgeted shifts we have just due to normal vacancy. And then the last step is looking at benchmarks. That can be a dirty word sometimes. So we really have to know and understand which benchmarks our organization uses, what information we have access to make sure we are being compared apples to apples as much as possible, and not apples to oranges. So you want to understand the benchmarks. I do like to use the ASHP benchmarking surveys, because they just have some basic numbers of staffing metrics that are useful, number of staff per 100 beds, for example. So those can give you ballparks, but understanding what other benchmarks you have are also critical. And you don't want to be blindsided and have that be used against you if you're not aware what the overall organization is using. So those are the key things I wanted to cover, for this topic of doing a capacity analysis. Now, if you do that capacity analysis and you discover that you are short-staffed, that you don't have enough staff to cover these various shifts that you already have, you're going to have to really assess, could you cut back, or are you going to have to go and justify getting that staff? So even before, or maybe in combination with your business plans to add resources, you're going to make sure that you get a right size bump up of staff to make you right size. So it's a capacity analysis. I have heard people refer to it, even in finance, as a right size. So we're not necessarily committing to new services by right sizing. We're just trying to get to what is a safe and appropriate level of staffing for the workload we have. So thanks so much for joining me today on Pharmovation Friday. It's looking like it's going to be beautiful weather here this for the next day or so in Ohio. But I know I'm praying for our colleagues and friends who live on the southern shores near the hurricanes and who still may be threatened by fires. So I am praying for you, and I know our community is. So please join me for future live Connector Dots. Monday is coming up, and that's Mindset Monday. Please let me know if there's a specific topic you want to cover. Today I did mention my Pharmovation program, and I do go deeper into strategic planning and how to justify resources, as well as career development planning. That will be coming available in this winter, but if you want to sign up and get on the early list at kimberbooth.com/pharmovation, please do that, and I'll send you some early information. So I'll leave you with: be bold, be a connector, advance healthcare and pharmacy practice. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.